Meanwhile, did President Trump just float a fix to the Russia problem? Take a listen.
We are sitting on massive energy, and we are now exporters of energy. So whenever you need energy, just give us a call. Let me be very clear about one crucial point. The United States will never use energy to coerce your nations, and we cannot allow others to do so. You don't want to have a monopoly or a monopolistic situation. The United States is firmly committed to open, fair, and competitive markets for global energy trade.
So can we remove Russia's energy hold over European countries by opening the floodgates right here? Former Deputy Assistant Defense Secretary under Bush, 43, Peter Brookes, says that would end Russian blackmail. Well, it's a win-win for the United States, Peter. First of all, it'd be a tremendous boon for particularly those frackers who are kind of worried about the price of oil going down. This would give them, expand their market tremendously, give them a second life. And then, of course, it would pull out Russia's hold over most of Europe, particularly Eastern Europe.
That's right. Well, of course, it would be good for the U.S. economy, U.S. jobs. We're actually starting to export liquefied natural gas, LNG, to Europe. Lithuania recently opened a station to allow our ships to come over there and deliver that. So there is already some diversification going on there. Also, you know, the Russian economy is heavily dependent on hydrocarbon exports. It sends 60 to 70% of its oil and natural gas to Europe, which puts about 40% of the creates 40% of the Russian federal budget. So if you're worried about Russian adventurism, whether it's snap exercises, harassing NATO planes and ships, what they're doing in Syria, their violation of the Intermediate Nuclear Forces missile treaty, cyber, et cetera, this is a point of leverage for us if we're able to get Europe to diversify their energy imports.
And I don't think it was accidental, Peter. I'll get your opinion on this, but that the president's first stop was in Poland, was in Eastern Europe. Used to be held by the Soviet Union, partly held in check by the hold that they have in energy over some of these Eastern European nations, and that's where he gave his energy speech. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think he made a point there about saying they should not be held hostage to people who would be coercive with the use of energy, and Russia has done that. Remember, David, in the past they've shut off energy to Ukraine, which when you shut off energy to Ukraine, you shut off energy to the rest of Europe because that's a major transit point. After the end of the Cold War, Russian energy, remember, Russia is the world's largest producer of oil and second largest producer of natural gas. The Russian energy replaced the Red Army as its major instrument of power in Europe.
Well, how does Russia respond to this? Because they're not going to give up their market share easily, are they?
No, certainly not. It's so important to them. Like I said, I think 43% of the Russian federal budget comes from that, and they're already hurting by low oil prices. They're hurting by sanctions that have been put on them over Ukraine.
So let me just set something up here. Could it be that what Donald Trump was doing in that announcement is clearly a well-planned announcement? Some of it he read, some of it he talked off the cuff, but it was clearly planned out. Could that have been a shot across the bow of Putin for this discussion that they just ended, this 2.5-hour discussion, in which he could say, hey, look, you want to hold on to that market share, you better play ball?
Yeah, it certainly could have been. There's a lot of things behind it, as we talked about. You know, the American economy, helping Europe diversify its energy imports, transatlantic ties, critically important. And, of course, Russia's all of its adventurism around the world that we're very concerned about, including here in the United States with its cyber and spying operations.
And when they're making statements painting a moral equivalency of the United States with North Korea, this could do a lot to kind of end that sort of talk that does nobody any good.
I hope so. I hope out of this meeting, once again, which went a pretty long time, I mean, considering, of course, about half of it is going to be in translation, but still, it was supposed to only be a half an hour total. Perhaps the Russians will come around and help us where they can on issues such as North Korea, where they don't have as much influence as China, but they are a major power and they are a major player at the UN. Syria, Ukraine, there's so many issues out there, and it's a point of leverage for us in this respect.
Energy and money. It seems that they always are connected somehow with power. Peter Brookes, good to see you, my friend. Thank you very much.